So here we are in week 3 of the short game mastery class. In the mastery class series, I'm teaching you how pros practice, how we spend our practice time and what our objectives are. So in the first week you learn the bump and run. You're focused on building and solidifying and trying to master the bump and run. Second week the focus then becomes on the pitch. So it would be obvious that this week the focus then is on the lob, right? We're progressing from easy shots to slightly more difficult shots. Now here's the thing about the lob. One, if you have to play a lot of lobs, you have to check out your course management strategy because you're leaving yourself difficult shots. If you leave yourself lots of lobs, it doesn't matter how much you practice them, you're not going to get up and down very much because a lob is played in a short-sighted situation where you don't have much green to work with. So the first thing you want to do in learning how to play a lob is recognize you don't want to leave yourself lob shots. Second thing is this, you also don't want to spend too much time practicing with the lob because the lob is this. It's a glancing blow across the ball. Now that's good if you want to hit something short and has some spin on it and has some height to it, but it's terrible for the rest of your ball strength. So the lob and also the fade are things that I ask my students to not spend too much time practicing on. Now, sure, you want to be able to play those shots, but this is nothing where you just go out and spend a whole day hitting lobs. You want to spend your whole day hitting bump and runs and pitches, and then you hit a few lobs. Well, today I'm going to show you that progression, and I'm going to show you essentially a bump and run lob. Because the pitch shot is just the same exact stroke as a bump and run. So a bump and run is played from the center of my stance, right? I keep my weight still, my body stays closed, I have a small and descending strike upon the ball from the middle of the stance. That creates a shot that flies 20% of the distance and rolls out 80%. Now the pitch, all you're doing with the pitch is the exact same action with your swing. You just change ball position. You move it farther forward in the stance. And you're not going to pitch a whole lot of clubs. You can pitch through your whole bag if you take the time to learn those shots. But essentially, that's in the yardage card that I teach. Especially, like a pitch is basically a size 1 swing for me. It's just the smallest little swing. So as you're learning how to hit the lob, you want to recognize that the lob is just a bump and run with a different club from a different ball position and at a different face angle. So when you play the pitch, you move it to the front of the stance, you make the same bump and run stroke, and the ball flies higher than it would from the middle of the stance, right? Logic. It's because the face, the point at which the face is meeting the ball has changed, right? And that changes then the angle of the face, well, relative to lob. Now, with the lob, what you do is you start with a very simple lob. You open your club face 1/3. And so what that ends up being is the pitch again with the club face open 1/3. Now when the club face is open like that and you're creating this glancing blow, the ball is going to fly more to the right. So what you have to do is accommodate for that. So as you set up for the lob, you maintain the same relationship in your body. You're still in a closed position, but you shuffle around and you get as open as necessary relative to the club face angle. So if the club face is open 1/3, you're going to be slightly open with your body positioning relative to the ball, but not open with your body facing the target. And then when you go 2/3 open of a club face, you're going to have to shuffle your feet a little bit more open because it's creating this glancing blow. Now it's creating this glancing blow, but still on the left side. So here, I'll show you here, as if I'm open to hit the ball over here. As I stay closed, I'm still making this same bump and run stroke, but the club face angle has changed, it's opened up, and the ball position has changed, and that changes the shot. So watch me here, I'm going to go through the progression of it, and the important thing to recognize with the lob is I don't want you spending a lot of time practicing the lob. So you're still, this is how the breakdown of the practice session should go. First 25%, bump and runs. Second 25%, pitches. Third 25% of your practice time, start to open up the face. 1/3, 2/3, completely open. And you know, like as you become a better player, you can set the face on any angle that you want, provided you've practiced enough, to create a variety of shots. And then the mastery goes like this. There's no mastering the lob. This is not a shot I want you practicing or putting yourself through that potential difficulty. Instead, week 3, mastery class, we go back to the bump and run. Let's see how many you can get. And if you've been watching the videos, the first objective, level 1 mastery, is 9 shots in a row inside of 3 feet from one spot. Level 2 mastery, 18 shots in a row inside of 3 feet with one make from the same spot. Level 3 mastery, 27 in a row inside of 3 feet with 2 makes from the same spot. So here, let me show you how this progression is going to work. I'm going to show you a bump and run, then a pitch, then I'm going to open the face 1/3, 2/3, and 3/3, and 3/3. And then I'll even show you what a traditional flop shot might look like that you see on tour, and you'll start to recognize that although sure you can play those shots if you're skilled enough, they're not really necessary, especially if you use good course management and strategy and don't leave yourself in a tough spot. So here we go. Here's a bump and run in the middle of my stance with a 56-degree wedge. Notice the trajectory. Now I'm going to move the ball position forward. And I'm going to use the same stroke as the bump and run. It's just my club face relationship to the ball has changed. Notice the height of the shot. Now I'm going to open the face 1/3. And as I do that, I'm going to allow my body relative to the line of play open up. But I'm not opening up the position of my body relative to my body. I'm maintaining this closed position, but I'm shuffling around to a spot that accommodates for the club face being open 1/3. Ball position still in the front of the stance. And notice, I'm just going to hit a bump and run stroke, but because of the ball position, that there has a lot of spin on it. So it's going to land soft and it's going to bite, and that's because of the ball position, and that's because of the facing. So here's 2/3. Start to get a little more height. But I'm still all the while just making a bump and run stroke. Here's completely open. Now this would be a traditional flop. Big full swing, lots of vulnerability, lots of opportunity for failure. You have to be perfect and precise with it. Those bump and run lob shots don't have near the negative consequences that this type of shot has. Week 3 mastery. Don't spend too much time on the lob.